Okay. Hey, Steve.
Hello, sir. Yep. Okay. Folks are entering. Well, welcome, everybody. We're going to start in a couple of minutes as soon as everybody gets in. All right, we'll just give it a couple more minutes. And by the way, we're trying out a new platform today, so we'll see how this goes. Luckily, most of you know me, and you know I like to be on cutting edge technology. And we're trying out a new system by a company called Sessions. And so far, I have mixed emotions about it, but hopefully we get through it and we get a great recording out of it too. Can I just get someone in the audience to let me know how the audio levels are today, if I'm loud enough for you guys? You just put it in the chat if you could. Great. Thanks, Mark. All right. So let's get started. If anybody misses anything, we will have the recording available hopefully in the next 24 hours. We'll get that out to folks. But there's a lot to cover. And today, what I want to do is I really want to introduce you guys to something that I find very exciting for our future, especially in customer experience, especially in customer service, whether it's patient experience, member experience, or customer experience. Those of us that have been in CX for years have always wrestled with, what do we do with sentiment analysis? And the interesting part is that it was always something we felt would get better and never really gave us actionable insights. So today, what I want to show you is I want to show you something that actually solves the problem that we've all wrestled with. You know, the positive, negative, neutral is no longer the limiting factor anymore. So as we go through this, I'm going to introduce you to a company called Vern AI, and I'm going to introduce you to a great guy, the CEO, Craig Tucker, and he'll talk about all of the psychology and all of the neuroscience and everything that has gone behind building a real emotion recognition system that can also operate in real time. So to get started, once again, my name is Steve Pappas. Most of you know me. And those of you don't, I've launched my company, Xint Solutions, which is a technology reseller and consulting company for contact centers and beyond. We look for the cutting edge technologies that are making a difference or will make a difference in creating better experiences for organizations, for agents, solving problems, etc. And we're going to talk to Craig Tucker, and I'll give you his bio right before we turn over to Craig. But I want to set things up just a little bit so you understand who Xint is too. Now, Xint is kind of a company that grew out of some frustrations, right? That couldn't find certain technologies to solve some problems for customers along the way. Now, those of you that know me from running the US operation for Panviva, the knowledge management company. I was the former CMO, et cetera, and senior vice president of operations for US. But what I've tried to do now is build a company that is really strategic and that can guide real results. So if you can think of Exent as the cutting edge technology folks, right? That we're looking at contact center technology day in and day out, especially the things that are not the commodity stuff. We're probably not necessarily going down the path of a UCaaS or a CCaaS or voice over IP solutions, but we are going to deal with the things that make agents' lives better, supervisor, managers that are helping to cut costs, that are helping to drive better performance through the organization, as well as the strategies to really help your business that's based on best practices. So Exent as a company, our advanced solutions really streamline communication. We're looking to guide and assist agents in using better technologies to have them create better interactions with their customers and almost anticipate their needs before they arise. And I say that because what you're going to see today is actually going to sound like we're anticipating customers better. And in one way where we really are is we're anticipate whether they're going to be happy with us, whether they're going to stay loyal to us, or whether they've already decided they're probably going to leave us. So looking at that, marrying that with the efficiencies and the higher levels of satisfaction, we can really transform any type of an organization, especially the contact center. And it's really looking pretty good. There are a lot of great things happening now. So just a little more about me. You may know me from 2007 to 2021 heading Panviva. So my knowledge management background, which we are touching into as a practice within Exent also. 2022 to 2023, I was the chief strategy officer for Cobalt Speech and Language. That's how the next product you're going to see and talk about came to be, because I was facilitating a joint product between Cobalt and Vern. And in 2024 said, okay, I've got to start something that can really solve these problems and not break the bank along the way for these companies. So one thing, my gift to you guys today, I don't know if you've seen, but my book is on Amazon. It's Simple CX, How to Deliver Great Customer Experiences. And this was something that was certainly took a while to write, and finally got into Amazon, and it's actually doing pretty well already. But everyone that's registered is going to get a digital copy of the book along with the recording of this and what have you. So just keep an eye out for that. And it also, in each chapter, there are links to the worksheets. So all the worksheets for building a simple CX initiative within a company and an organization, and helping folks from the top down, outside in, bottom up. The worksheets are all available too, and they're all interactive worksheets. So you download them as PDFs, but you can use them as many times as you want and just fill them out, erase them, fill them out, save them as new. So everyone will be getting their own copy of that too. So I really appreciate you guys joining me and giving me your time today and listening to what we have to offer. So what were the problems? So really, when it came to looking for a solution to handle this, one of the problems I saw was sentiment analysis always felt like it was just almost there. But how do you take action? If somebody tells you it's positive, negative, and neutral, how do you know what to do? You know, what's the response to neutral? What's the response to negative? And sometimes what they're saying is not positive or negative, but the technology wasn't built to look at all of the emotions and be able to bring that to light quickly. Second problem was it was really good for the QA department, but it wasn't great at real time. It didn't play an early warning system, especially when someone's in the heat of battle with a caller and there's a real problem going on and the emotions are flying one way or the other. I mean, you could take healthcare as an example. People don't necessarily call because they're just saying hi, right? There's a problem. Sometimes emotions are really attached to that. And to be able to decipher exactly what's going on, are they using humor to diffuse something? Are they really angry? Are they frustrated? Is there sadness involved? All of those are very important to be able to act properly and kind of get away from, well, I got to follow this script. Empower the agents to be able to be empathetic more. And then the technology really needed to be able to work with anything. Part of the problem was, do you connect it to your telephony system? Can you connect it to your chat system, your live chat, human chat system? How about your chat bot or your conversational AI system? Really looking for something that can be easily added to any of those communication methods. But also, what about if someone's out in the field? What if it's a visiting nurse or a case manager out visiting and they needed something to be able to understand better what's going on? What if they're doing interviews in a mental health clinic? What if they're working with at-risk teens in a school system? All of those types of things are really important to understand well what's going on. So the light bulb went off. As I was providing strategy for Cobalt, it became very apparent that something with Vern, which was handling the text side of things and could really do emotion recognition like we've never seen before, and it's all patented and it's not relying on ChatGPT or anything else like that, because it's all patented under their own. And then Cobalt, being the world-class speech and voice technology company, already had a product that was detecting emotion in calls. So in contact centers, it was listening to the pitch, the timbre, the rate of speed of someone speaking, the inflections, all of the audio cues that we as humans would say, okay, well, I can understand how upset you are. That's taking it from the computer level and taking all of the biases out of it. Bringing both of those products together was going to be the way it needed to work properly. So when Craig comes on, he's going to tell you more about the technology and how all of that is working. So without further ado, what I should do is let's get to Craig's side of this, and let me bring up my agenda here. So let me give you a little background about Craig. So Craig is the founder and CEO of Vern AI, which has really developed and patented emotion recognition AI system that can be easily integrated into almost any communication system. That is one of the important things to take away. But this AI system can detect human emotions, but also combinations of emotions. It's no longer just a positive, negative, neutral. What are the emotions and what are the combinations of emotions? And they even have on their roadmap not only to do the text and the audio, but even the visual down the road too. So finally, those of us in CX and customer service and contact centers, we can get actionable insights in real time. So I'm going to turn it over to Craig, and hopefully the system allows Craig to come on now.
All right. Hello, everyone. Am I
There
on?
you
Can you all see me now?
We see you. Thanks.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Steve. I appreciate the warm introduction, and thanks everyone for joining. Yeah, it's been a great journey for us. Here at Vern AI, we started our company back in, original impetus came out of research. My background's at Michigan State University. in the PhD program there in communications, and we looked at a lot of different models for emotions and kind of settled on a neuroscientific model, which we'll get to a little bit. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our deck and kind of give you a little run through on sentiment analysis versus emotion recognition, what the differences are and what the advantages are. So give me 1 second here. Okay, Steve, everybody, can you see the title screen?
Yep, I see it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, so what is VERN? Oh, VERN is a real-time emotion recognition system. And that means we detect emotions in speech and in text in real time and then process them according to our model and provide insights back with millisecond latency so we can use this in conversational AI systems. It's used in award-winning customer service and mental health applications. We've been very fortunate to partner with some really big partners and to tackle some big problems within both spaces. Since the biggest problem is to understanding what emotion somebody is presenting and at what level, as to be able to take action. So VERN AI and emotion recognition systems like it detect emotions in real time. VERN does it from text and from audio with 80% plus accuracy. And we've been partnered with chatbot virtual assistant companies, mental health professionals and trailblazers, and of course the folks that created Amazon's Alexa. Steve talked about them with Cobalt Speech. So that's all well and good, but does it work? Well, we've been able to show that it does. Evermore.io, which is a mental health diary that's very popular with younger folks, been downloaded over 10,000 times in 4 different countries. They recently did a user survey, found that over 8,000 users reported that 97% of them reported anyway. They have less anxiety from using Evermore with VERN as the emotion detection tool within the software. They also reported less brain fog and more motivation. Incidentally, and they've also more than half reported less negative self-talk and a better outlook on life. So just there and then alone, we know that we have saved lives, with people that are using Evermore. So what are the differences, right? There's sentiment analysis and emotion recognition. Steve kind of talked about this a little and touched on it first. With sentiment analysis, we have positive, negative, neutral, or mixed. So we know the polarity. We know that if there's no polarity, and we know that if it's too confusing for the model to make a decision. Those are basically positive, negative, neutral, mixed. Or we get other pseudo emotions like optimism or calmness, which seem to be a state of mind or a state of being, but are definitely not emotions. And the reason for this is a lot of problems within sentiment analysis is that really is about the psychological models. Within psychology, we have models that say there are 5, 7 emotions. There's one that says there's 9, one that says there's 13. We've even seen the latest research where there's up to 27 or 40 distinct emotions. You really don't have to be a data scientist to know that when you have all of these different emotions and labels, that you are creating confounds and basically mislabeling things and miscounting things. So we went with a more of a direct approach, the emotion recognition system, because we wanted to find distinct salient emotions, ones that everybody knows and understands, ones that we can identify and take action on, the ones that people are actually trying to give us. And we want to use these from observable signals, from actual signals that we can find, whether they be in speech, from the audio clues, or direct observable signals from the brain using fMRIs. And that's why VERN AI and good ERS systems use neuroscientific foundations. There's basically one model of emotions. There's euphoria and dysphoria. And there's a little thing called the prediction error that we've been able to operationalize and create a detector for. What you end up getting is emotions like anger, fear, joy, and sadness, which no matter what model that you pick are all included and end up being the top hierarchy of the model of the emotions in the model. So how this can help solve some problems within sentiment analysis, because sentiment analysis has limited classifications. You can only process them in the positive, negative, neutral, and mixed. It leaves, nuanced emotions that are expressed in text out. And these things may be inherent to a human being, but to a automated content analysis system, which all of these systems really are, it can become quite difficult. And the labels themselves may not really be emotions. Like we said, before, optimism and calmness are states of mind and of being, but are not actual emotions. So mislabeling becomes a problem. How can you take action if you don't really know what you're getting? Motion recognition systems, on the other hand, are multidimensional. We classify text into generally understood emotions, kind of what we've talked about before. That helps make it more understandable. And the fact that you can have multiple emotions at the same time. So no longer do you get mixed, but you can actually know which emotions are part of that mix. That confuses sentiment analysis tools. And it provides a more real life understanding of emotional content. And what we're going to see now is an example from a mental health session we've actually taken from real life. And you'll see the difference between a Vern ERS system and Google, their sentiment analysis tool. So we'll go ahead and run this out. The person said, "I wish my mom protected me from my grandma. She was a horrible person who was so mean to me and my mom." Well, Google, using sentiment analysis tools, says that's optimism. Well, I'm pretty optimistic in the fact that that's wrong. Vern detected that there's 80% fear, 80% anger, so some pretty intense fear and anger signals within the text itself. And you can see the differences, just by using one, or the other. We'll get to more examples here in a bit as well. So another problem with sentiment analysis tools is it can't act in real time. Part of the problem is, as we kind of went over that, is you don't know what emotions customers are expressing, meaning not being able to act with any type of confidence. And if you have inaccurate metrics, you have inaccurate labels. So you're not going to get the same answer twice, and you're really not going to be able to extract anything out of your past conversational data, unfortunately. And because of all of these, you cannot really automate a solution that'll help save money and make customers happier. Recent conversations we've had with Fortune 500 content and CX folks told us that most of their data is a black hole. They know what the positive and negative are. At least they have a direction of polarity. They can't take action on it nor address the real problem that the customer's coming to them. They all end up saying the same thing. How do I know if my customer is happy or sad? Well, you can do that with an ERS, with an emotion recognition system. It does give you the confidence to act because you know what emotions are being communicated, and that's the first step of empathy, right? When you're in any type of therapy session, they're going the therapists, the mental health professionals, which we have plenty of advisors on our board. They want to talk about what you're feeling, and they want to understand and empathize with you so that they understand your feelings and where they're coming from. ERS allows you to do that in real time, and you can automate it by AI. And when you do, it becomes more human-like and less prone to error. And here's a good example from an actual contact center call analyzed with Amazon and also with Vern. Okay, I think she went over the organizations with me the other day, and I wasn't a part of them. Well, in this instance, Amazon comes up as that's 53% negative, so about 50-50. Vern says that no, there's quite a bit of doubt in there, so that would be fear, and it's pretty intense fear that we're picking up here in this signal. But we're not picking up any anger, love, or sadness signals themselves. So from here, you can actually take action on something that comes up within a call center. With sentiment analysis, maybe not so much. It's 50% negative. Now what? What can be automated? Suggestion you might have in conversational design is we're sorry, you may not feel, or you may or may not be experiencing negative feelings about the emotion or about the organization. Obviously not enough of a response with an ERS, an emotion recognition system. We see the 90% fear. So the person is feeling afraid of not being part of the organization. Conversational reply may be something when we have empathy is no worries, your organization may still be on our list, or we can apply other discounts. Working in tandem with a a natural language understanding program, such as we have with some of our partners, can help to craft automated responses as long as you know the emotion as you come in, right? So knowing the emotion is the most important part. So what we're doing with this is, we're building an empathy for real time and real life. Currently, we're working on an interface that allows us to integrate with Zoom so that you can analyze calls in a Zoom in real time with emotions that are present, with a nice interface that allows you to see the emotions as they come up. And then you have an ability to drop down and to do further digging into the emotions that are being stated, with each one's color coded and size representative based on the intensity of the emotion, with the ability to take notes. That's something we have coming out in our pipeline. It should be out here in a few months. Additionally, currently right now, one of our partners is Core AI, and we can integrate within their systems as well. This is an example from Smart Assist and how Vern AI can analyze a chat conversation in real time and provide an interface for the customer service representative to get feedback both on the suggestions from the bot itself about different programs or things that are programmed in as far as the company and the business logic. Then you can see in real time the emotions that are present, the amount of emotions being expressed in the conversation. And instead of getting, thumbs up or thumbs down at the end of a customer experience, if you tailor your conversations correctly, you can eliminate the need for surveys, because you're really asking them and they're telling you during the conversation itself. With a technology like Vern and other ERS systems, you can track each response to know overall and the peaks and valleys of the emotions itself. We've even been able to use it to identify what we call emotional contagion within customer service data. The customer service representative speaks in a way in which they add doubt and fear signal gets sent to the customer, and we can watch the customer respond with a corresponding amount of fear and doubt themselves. So this also can help aid training and help find who is really good at making people happy, who's really good at diffusing customers. So, in the end, what do you need for emotion recognition? Well, we have a simple checklist here to get you started, and it's really not as hard as you might think. All right, so communications either have to be in text or in audio. It is better to have both, but you can get emotion from either set of information. So most of the systems we have either have the telephony, chatbot, some kind of an internal messaging system. We have communications that are both electronic, in text and in audio. So those are abound throughout the organizations. Have the ability to send messages on to an ERS. Several ways in which you can accomplish this. First one, the most popular, obviously, is through APIs. Just being able to call out to an API computer system and send it out sentence by sentence and get it back is a very quick and easy way to do it. Vern AI, by the way, has a API set up and ready. We brag that you can get set up and start testing in 2 minutes because it's pretty quick and easy to do. On-premises is another solution. Obviously, some instances you can't use the cloud. You want to have a more secure instance, or perhaps you're using this for more sensitive data and information, or you want to bring it on-prem. Completely capable and available through Vern. We have it in Docker image and other types of deployments to put it in on-premises. And if you're looking for one, you should really look for one that gives you that option, specifically if security and privacy is number one importance. And then there are other endpoints such as marketplaces, Zapier Zaps, that you can really incorporate, and even one of our partners, Bot Stacks, where you can incorporate pieces of technology and put it as part of your automation stack to be able to automate these things. And then the third thing that you need for emotion recognition is just the ability to receive data in return. There's many different ways that you can use it. Obviously, the one that we're going to show a little bit of, and we've talked about already, is within a chatbot or virtual assistant. So you enabling the chatbot or virtual assistant to understand the emotion as it comes in. It can then help to feed into Gen AI prompts that they'll understand the emotional context of the user in the situation and present a lot better returns that are more relevant and emotionally intelligent to the user. And there's a process we use, we'd love to show you, we call detect, direct, and quality check for LLM. So we detect the emotion, direct them down the right appropriate pathway with a prompt that's waiting for the context. And then when the LLM gives us a return, we use Vern again to make sure that it's appropriate. And if it does not trigger a threshold, it's passed to the end user. All this can happen in milliseconds and actually turns out to lead to a lot fewer hallucinations and problems with using Gen AI. But that's just one example of using the data in return. Obviously, another way to use it is within an analytic dashboard. So if I'm a supervisor for a call center. I may want to see how my people are doing in real time. You would have the ability to pull up a conversation stream and see, what the conversation was from the transcript, and also the emotions and how the emotional velocity changes throughout the conversation. That's basically the peaks and valleys of each emotion as they go through. Or back to an on-screen user interface. So using an on-screen user interface, for example, one of the products, and we'll show you a little bit of, is something we've used in healthcare to test out with therapy sessions. So for social workers, also for licensed therapists, they've used it to interview folks within therapy sessions itself. So on-screen interfaces could be used in HR, could be used in any type of front-facing product that you want to talk to people. So that's really what you need for the emotion recognition. You should always try to find something that's lightweight and that can fit within your system. What we've really tried is because we come from a long line of developers and development, we wanted to make it user-friendly for the IT folks and the users to use it and give them as many options as possible. Because one thing we've hated is frustration in which, having to tailor systems together and not having that ability. So give me an example of what a workflow would look like. So if we have a customer who's not happy, and this is, by the way, is taken directly from customer service example. So they say, okay, you're suggesting that I am forced to resend my letter of appeal. The audio sources and text sources would then be run through your system through Vern, either on-prem or in the cloud. We have many different endpoints, including our API. Core AI is one of our channel partners. They have 4,600 different endpoints that they can deliver to. BotStacks is another one of our chatbot and virtual assistant companies. They're more of a modular build-as-you-go system, work right within those bots. Zapier Zaps, you can just hit a Zapier Zap pretty easily. A lot of people have been using this as automating some of their workflows on the CX side, or from marketplaces like Eden AI or Gravity AI can get burned, and this will allow you to deploy it within your system so that you know that out of this particular example, anger is at 66%. It's pretty moderate. You've got a fear signal that's pretty high at 98%. Now your customer service will be able to understand emotions. Because they're able to understand the emotions, they're able to help people and make them feel like they're more valued and more accepted, and that they have a friend on the inside. That'll invariably lead to better customer satisfaction, which will help your boss understand the value of CX even more. So how do our customers use it? Well, first of all, what you're seeing on now is Grace from My Plan Keeper AI. It's a 3D avatar chatbot and virtual assistant. It has emotional intelligence that helps people with their retirement planning. We're currently building this with My Plan Keeper, also with Core AI to build out a revolutionary new system and a new way in which to engage and interact with chat. Also, we use it in chatbots and virtual assistants. For example, we won the botathon for Core AI. Created a bot called Care RN. When customers are angry and want to speak to the manager, it identifies what they're upset about, what emotion is associated with it, also what level of intensity, and then it triages them while initiating a live agent transfer. So it buys time, basically, and in the meantime helps to try to diffuse customers that are angry. Real quick and easy module can be inserted into any type of core bot, or could be re-engineered into another bot system. And then there's iHeartBot, which you can see on the right. This is made from University of Michigan Health and also from Mayo Clinic's data about how to recovery program for heart attack survivors that's emotionally intelligent. Reason why that's important is because the first month after recovery, emotions can actually lead to death. So there's comorbidities with maladaptive emotions in the first 30 days. So we built this. We're currently out testing this bot itself. And also, we kind of alluded to this earlier within mental health and in self-care. So Evermore, we talked about a little bit earlier. It's an audio diary and journey. They won the Webby Award last year for the best, most responsible website, and won the Anthem Award the year before. Also within Boise State University's GIM Lab, we help collaborate with them on an AR VR autism app for kids with autism. So we help to detect the audio and lingual emotions in therapist-led studies with kids that are on the autism spectrum. Really interesting study. They have some emotionality that comes with the geo-specific location, how they orient within the space, and how other objects are actually orientated. So very interesting study.
Hey, Craig.
Yes, sir.
I just want to let people know, because I'm starting to get in the QA down in the bottom right. If folks want to ask any questions along the way, I'm starting to compile a list of questions that are coming through. So feel free to use the Q&A or the chat to me, and we will get your questions answered towards the end. Thanks, Craig.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and go through, show you a little bit of a textual analysis with a browser plugin that can actually be added to anything, including your Outlook or an email client or any forms on a website. Also show you a little bit of the audio analysis that we've done with the healthcare pilots and show you how it can analyze from audio, and then a little bit on the chatbot virtual assistant. And if we have some time, hopefully I'll be able to show you new video that we just got back from the engineering staff showing the Cobalt speech and Vern product in its infancy. It's paint's still drying and we're still iterating on it, but we should have a product available for demonstration within a week or two at the latest. So without further ado, folks, I'm going to go ahead and go over to Vern Composer and show you a little bit about the browser plugin. So this basically, if you happen to have anything typed into a form, you simply just type it into the form field box, stop typing. It automatically goes and analyzes the emotions that are there. So this is something that somebody had in a meeting had actually used to test Vern to see if it could detect the subtle threat within the sentence. It would be a shame if something were to happen to your dog. Well, indeed, it can actually detect that. So it detects the fear at about 66%. Sadness, it does have some clues, but not enough to be significant. Anger is significant, just over 51%. So we can see that in real time, we can detect emotions that come out of speech. And we can do something even a little bit more relevant. Let's see, let me grab one real quick. It's to customer service. We're going to go back and talk a little bit about somebody that's not very happy and wants to speak, to the manager. So in Vern, you get, frankly, I'd like to speak to a manager with a small fear signal, minimal. Anger is actually over the 51% threshold, so it would count as anger. Compared to another system we use to compare to, obviously, is Amazon's sentiment analysis product. We've already reloaded this up, previously to analyze the text, and it tells us that it is 90% negative, which is great, right? It's 90% negative, but what emotion are they actually feeling? Is it anger? Is it sadness? And what type of emotion is very important if you're going to decide, to use any type of emotion recognition system at any point of within your automation flow.
Hey, Craig, just a quick one. Some folks have been noticing that the audio has been breaking up a bit. So if you just speak a little slower, the packets will catch up better.
Thank you. I'll certainly do that. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. So here's an example of some mixed emotions that we can find with an emotion recognition system. And this is a loaded This is a loaded statement. When you lose a person you love so much, surviving the loss is difficult. Now, sometimes it's really important to understand the nuances within the system itself. So there's definitely a love joy signal here, talking about somebody that they love so much. But there's also this lingering melancholy or maybe even a little bit of a sadness that exists because we're talking about the loss. We can clearly understand as human beings that this is a loaded statement, but within sentiment analysis, this comes across as mixed or worse. And I'll show you guys what we mean by going back to Amazon, putting in the very same phrase, and let's see if sentiment analysis can actually understand what was said. Well, it says that it is 95.94% positive, which isn't accurate. It doesn't really actually reflect the intent or the emotions that are actually being presented. And this is something we see and we've used in testing across a number of different systems, right? Um, from Google, Amazon, ChatGPT, any of the other, Watson, all of these systems seem to have the same type of problems with emotionality, including Hume, which came out with a big demo, but kind of fell flat on their face. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and show you another system we built showing how it works with audio. This is from Vern Health. It's one of our subsidiaries. Uh, we worked with Accelerate Health, University of Michigan, University of Louisville, and also with the VentureWell company to put this together. So a step-by-step guide, we'll go ahead and skip through. That's not really necessary. But let's see if this how we do on the audio. So the question would be, can I help you? And let's see. No, frankly, I'd like to speak to the manager. All right, hold on 1 second, folks. It's it's fighting the mic on the Zoom. So let's go ahead and see if we can get it to go. No, frankly, I'd like to speak to the manager. So we can see the audio parsing in real time. Analyze the document. We can see, or analyze the statement. We can see that there's a low amount of anger within the sentence itself. We can use any of these types of audio systems to combine with Vern to give you a more subtle and nuanced type of an engagement. So how you can use this is within a chatbot and virtual assistant system. So I'm bringing up what iHeartBot to kind of give you an idea of what this works on. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. His name's George Jetson. I want to verify that the client is there and what their date of birth is, so we're not getting the wrong person. So we can also understand the date of what the procedure was, and then understand that they're in the first day of recovery. So have we been resting? Yes, we've been resting. No, it'll go through a bunch of questions here on the process as it tries to take, your emotional pulse. It makes me a little sad that I can't do things I used to. So we're asking about resting. So I'm taking medications, right? And as we do this, it is recording all of the emotions that are being presented, and this ends up going into the end of action report or on a dashboard in which somebody could look at this conversation in itself or as in the entirety. Bot says taking medications, yes. This is how the medications make you feel. We kind of prompt them on a little bit more of an emotional state and get them to know it's okay to tell them about their emotions. Let's see, this person is, they're scared to death because I don't want to die. All right, so the system can actually understand that the person is scared and that they're comes back with overwhelmed and anxious or both. It tells them that we can get this together, and we'll talk about the fear and the best way to get over it. This will then take them on a journey in which they will talk about their fears, get it more outlined and within the conversation, and help to move to all of the different procedural steps in this particular program. So it can be used in real time to be able to respond back to folks and show them exactly the emotions that are there. And I did promise, at the end of this, I would show you a little bit of a sneak peek. And let me see if I can get this up. Okay. So what we're looking at now is basically the baby one we're calling Vera. And this combines the emotional input also with the from both the audio and from the video. So you might hear one of my associates in the background, one of our engineers working on this. And this is a demo. Like I said, we were just getting this put together. We'll have this ready to go within systems, but it kind of demonstrates the ability to take it from the audio directly with the textual score and combine them into a user interface that's a little easy to understand and easy to take action on. So at this point, I'd love to open it up and see if there are any questions we might be able to answer, if there's anything else that we might be able to actually show. So I'll stop sharing and then kind of pass that back over.
Yeah, so we do have a few questions that have come in already. But the one question I have, as you were showing the bot Craig.
Mhm.
I was wondering how much more conversational design work goes into the conversational AI uh, because of introducing the emotion recognition. Do
That's
you?
a great, yeah, we have some insight into that. It actually can eliminate a lot of extra additional work.
Okay.
What we've been seeing a lot of is people trying to use Gen AI or LLMs or another type
Right.
of emotion system off the bat. And then they end up, because of the problems we've kind of elaborated earlier, LLMs will never be able to get you the same answer twice because of their methodology and the different models that they could be using competing at the same time. You have to use an emotion recognition system. Otherwise, you're over engineering it. You're running down pathways. You're spending a lot of time and money, to fix something. For example, we were brought in to My Plan Keeper in Grace, with Court, because they were not able to get the emotional recognition done properly and had over engineered systems that weren't working. We were able to go in there with some quick, simple fixes, imported our module in, and they were able to, within about an hour and a half, fix the entire problem and win a big contract with BOA.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it actually can help save a lot of time and effort.
All right. I'll get to some of the questions. So the first one that came from Dave was, I have sentiment analysis. Does that mean I have to switch?
No, actually, they work alongside one another. Sentiment analysis tools, obviously, we made some investment in them. We have some of our business processes and logic that work with them, and they can still continue to work and provide value while using an emotion system like Vern. And ERS was an enhancement really onto sentiment analysis. There may be instances where you're just interested in the polarity, or you just want a general, you just want to take the temperature of the general audience, thumbs up, thumbs down. And there's other times where you actually want to drill in to more of the actual distinct emotions within a situation. So
Okay.
they can work together. We've designed so we don't replace it, but we can work, hand in hand together. And it's amazing to see in a lot of these systems how well they actually tune together. And then
Right.
there's points at which ERS is much more accurate.
Okay. So I think you answered this. Is there any way we could bring this in-house? I think you talked about the
Yeah,
privacy.
a little bit. There's a number of different ways that we can do it. We've set it up so the deployment can go, like I said, into a Docker image. There are other types of ways that we can get deployed right directly within the system, because we know that security, privacy are huge, especially when dealing with conversations. So that's one of the reasons why when we engineered our system, we engineered it to be stateless, so that the data doesn't actually end up anywhere else other than on your own servers,
Okay.
because of this issue. So cloud is still a very attractive option. We try to make it as attractive as possible, but obviously some people have restrictions, so we can go on-prem.
Got it. Good. I have another one here. I can see how this gives you some new insight, but how can I use that to help make customers happier? That came from Mark.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that. So yeah, making customers happy starts with understanding them, right? Because one of the things that we all face when we pick up the phone or the chat bot, or start texting, is we don't know the other name or face on the other end. We don't have
Right.
a personal connection to them. There's no way that we can feel unique, special, or that our needs are being addressed, right? So when you understand the emotions, when you have automated systems that say, "Hey, Steve, I see that you're a little angry. I would be angry too. Let's talk about that and see if we can't work this out together," as opposed to, "I'm sorry, you can't pick number 5 in this list. You must pick 1 through 4.
Right.
Here's the menu again. Please don't get angry with me." So what ends up happening without it is you end up building anger machines that churn out customers that are just ticked off at you and get them one step closer to leaving.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. Um, you mentioned there are ways to make it more accurate. Can you clarify that?
Sure. So Vern AI is a general emotional frame. So in any context, in any situation, it'll work. The difference is how you get more accurate is you basically put in filters and weights for your particular situation. And I'll give you an example. So if I say the term plunger, it means something completely different if I am a doctor or if I'm a plumber. right?
Right.
Same word, does a lot of the same functions, has a lot of different meaning depending on the occupational context. So what those are called domain frames. Now these domain frames help to narrow down the accuracy of the emotional context within that particular domain, right? So another example is in banking. Interest is a emotional thing, but it depends on whether I'm borrowing or I'm lending,
Mm.
right? So if I have an interest rate goes up, that might be great for me if I am if I'm investing, right? And the yield's getting bigger, but it might not be so good for me if I'm borrowing, right? Because now it means I may have to pay back more. So these additional frames, what we call, can be engineered weights and systems to increase your accuracy up to and close to 100%.
Perfect. Okay. Um, I've got one more. I get that it would really leverage the conversation in real time. What kind of benefits can I get long term using an emotion recognition system?
Hmm. That's a good one. That's a good one because yeah, obviously you can take action in real time, but in the long term, what you're doing is you're creating your own accurate data, emotional data. So in the long term, you're going to be able to determine if Steve is an angry guy or happy guy, and be able to tackle that as soon as you come on. And it's also going to be able to identify trends like when people are ready to leave your company. They will have things called emotional fingerprints that will be
Mm.
able to identify that have a certain amount of anger and sadness on certain topicalities, a certain amount of times, generally lead to them leaving. So you can leverage this data to go back and look and see, what type of insights can we pull out of this? What type of business cases can we solve with having the emotional data? Because we're recording it now with the sentiment, but imagine how much more value you'd get if you knew, how angry all of your customers are. Or how sad that they were to see one product get be mothballed or a new product roll out. What kind of fears that they have about those things.
That brings up another question that just came to mind. We've been talking about the customer most of the time,
Mm.
but sometimes the customer gets angry, and sometimes they get angry with the chatbot system, or they get angry with the agent. So technically, we can focus this on the customer, but we could also focus it on the agent
Mm.
at the same time to get a better feel for, hey, is Tanya doing a better job keeping customers happy? Is George doing a better job? So you can focus it on both. But a follow-up to that would be, can we also then send messages to the supervisor, to the manager, or someone that has to double jack in quickly to maybe diffuse from a management perspective too?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it works on all human emotions, and the CSR, the receptionist, the nurse, the whomever happens to be the first line of defense who talks to people, it's going to have emotions too,
Yeah.
and it is what we've been able to show is that you can infect somebody with an emotion. So knowing that what the people are feeling and how that they're interacting with your clients and customers is absolutely huge and important. And we can do that with Vern because you just would put it on the both channels, in the conversation to analyze both, and would allow you to see, over time if somebody's getting angrier or they're communicating with more sadness or fear. Might be able to help you prevent burnout because you're going to be able to people. And that's the thing is we all evolved to share these emotional signals. It's part of our social fabric and how we work. So people will readily share these signals. You just need a system that's able to detect them and to put them towards the business use case that you're looking to solve. But absolutely, we've had discussions with several medical organizations about using this to detect burnout within their staff, within doctors, and within visits. And we're currently working on piloting some of that out.
Interesting. And of course we can alert. So if you're building it via API
Mm-hmm.
and something hits over a certain threshold, a message could be sent to the supervisor or manager that may need to come to the rescue of that agent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Using what we call them gateways and thresholds. So, like a threshold is if I hit emotionality of above a certain level. So I'm looking for really high anger, high fear in a certain instance. If I get those, I will open a gateway and I'll send them down a pathway in which it will directly address those emotions in the context itself. So yeah, and in doing so, you can automate a red flag, a system that gets sent out to a supervisor to tell them, that this is happening, and we can set it on a number of different parameters.
Okay. Well, and the sheer fact that we may be able to limit the annoyance that customers go through of the after call survey.
Mm-hmm.
If you know the emotion along the way, technically you could also detect the arc of that conversation, right?
Correct.
It may have started out in one place, it may have moved to another, gone higher, and then come back. But it also sounds like tracking the entire arc of the conversation would be important, as well as maybe put that into the after call work, or put it right into the CRM system or the core system that's being used.
Yeah, well, absolutely, 100%. And what you're looking at now, Steve, is a dashboard of Vern data, and through Grafana dashboards we built that show you exactly what you're talking about, the arc through the entire conversation, where you can isolate each one of the different emotions, see which ones are high, which ones are low and minimal, and the entirety of how the ebb and flow of that emotion works through the conversation. And having both sides, you can also jump back and look at how the customer service representative might have, in this instance, introduced the emotional contagion of fear, which you see right here.
Right.
And it gives you, the ability to understand how intense each one of the emotions are, with a transcript that you can then go back and make sure that this is actually, accurate to a human level. And what you mentioned earlier is something, kind of important too. With this data, you can compile it into a organization, a location, a division. Heck, it can even be this group of 10 people, right, that you really want to take a look at. And we can use this to show how the customer service representatives are performing through the amount of conversations they had in the data, most prevalent emotion that was detected with high confidence. In this case, fear out of this data set. And I think this comes from several hundred actual real conversations from a real organizations. So
Great.
The names are different. Obviously, Dwight Schrute and Pamela Halpert and Stanley Hudson are fictional characters, but this does come from actual real data.
So we have two. Oh, sorry.
No, what you mentioned over time, just one last thing, is, how you can find out people that are good at making people happy. For instance, Saul is good at getting positive emotions to rise up. Patrick, on the other hand, is very good at diffusing angry customers. So with this type of data, you can actually do some quality control, training, and the amount of insights you get, are just incredible compared to just positive, negative, neutral, mixed, or thumbs up, thumbs down, or God forbid you ask somebody to do a survey after they've interacted with you. It's never accurate even if you get an answer. So
okay, we have one more statement. Actually, Linda wanted to thank us because she loves how it helps the well-being of the agents. Impressive technology. Graham just sent a question in. Can you map this to journey stages so you know what they are doing when they felt a particular way and what they were doing in other channels?
Yeah, absolutely, we can. And if the Vern is enabled on those different channels, then it would be each step of the way would have every time they speak, you would have a data point, right? And anytime that there's a reply back, there's an additional data point. So if it goes from, and I understand the example, like from a chat bot, it goes over to a live agent.
Yep.
If the technology, like Core AI can do that. They do, from live agent, phone calls, IVR stuff right directly in chatbots for full integration. They're one of the big boys, so they do a lot of that. So it is quite possible, and it's being done every day.
Well, I would imagine the question, Graham, is that in an omni-channel environment, no matter where the touch point that's being used, whether or not you designed the journey as they go into it, and as they come out of it, whether they have a certain emotion attached to it that or maybe there's a frustration, etc., and whether or not they did what you expected them to do. Right. So that is a real good check and balance. And honestly, I hadn't gone down that path yet either. So Graham, thank you for that.
No, that's awesome.
Maybe we'll connect soon. I'll get time on your calendar. Okay, so I don't know if we have any other questions. If you want, obviously, you could just send them to me. We'll get them answered for you. We will put things together to send out to you, hopefully by Friday at the latest. But I really want to thank you, because I know your time is valuable, and spending an hour with us hopefully brought a lot of value, opened up some eyes, and maybe you see an area that is probably not talked about enough yet, but certainly will be by the end of this year and next year. So, we're trying to show you ground floor technology evolution at its finest. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, Craig, for your time. We appreciate you, and we will be in touch with everybody. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.